Hey guys, in this tutorial I want to show you how you can create a simple eating game like this in the Spark AR Studio with a score count and also a timer. So let's start! Hey again, so let's create this simple eating game here in the Spark AR Studio. I have created a patch asset which makes it really simple to create a gaming filter like this here in the Spark AR Studio, and you can of course use this patch asset for free. So just go to the description of this video and click on the download link. Then you will end up here on this Dropbox site. Here just click on download. Then it will automatically download a zip folder for you. Just unzip the zip folder and then you will find this folder inside with two files, the patch asset and also a food.png, which we will use for this example. But of course you can use any other PNG you want to see in your filters. So the next step is of course to import the assets we have just downloaded. So for this, just drag and drop the patch into the assets panel and also the food you want to use into the assets panel. So after you have done this, just make sure you set the compression of the texture to none. And now we can start programming this filter here in the Spark AR Studio. The first thing we will do is to import our patch asset into the patch asset. And then you can see this patch I have created for you. This patch is really powerful for a lot of games here in the Spark AR Studio, but now we will just do the eating game filter here. And of course I will do a lot of other games here on this channel in the future. So the next step is that we create a face tracker in our scene. So for this we go to the scene, click on the plus and search for face tracker and then just insert it. So now we will find this yellow object in our scene and then we can drag and drop it into our patch editor. Spark AR will then automatically create these 3 patches for us. So, and now we can start connecting our patches here in the patch editor. And the first thing we will do is to connect the 3D position output of the face tracker to the face 3D position input of the orange patch. So, and now we need a few more patches to create this game. The next thing is that we add another patch. Here we search for the mouth open patch. So now we connect the face output of the face tracker 0 to the face input of the mouth open, and the open state output goes into the mouth open input of the game mechanic patch. So after we have done this, we can create our first falling object. So for this we go to our scene and create 2 objects. The first object is a null object. I will call this null object food. And then we will also create a plain object. And now I will just create this plain object food1. So now just make sure you drag and drop the food1 plane into the null object. Now it should look like this with an arrow on the side. So the next thing is of course to create a material for this plane. For this, go to the assets panel, click on the plus and select material. Next thing I will call this material food1, and then when selected the material I go to the right hand side and set the shader tab to flat and then choose as a texture my food PNG. So now I can go back to my scene, click on the food plane, go to the right hand side and set as material my food1, and now we can already see a burger here in the middle of the screen. So the next step is that we select our food1 plane and then go to the right hand side. Here we have to extract some properties to our patch editor. The first property is the visible property. For this, just click on the little arrow next to visible. So then the next thing is the position and also the scale. Now in your patch editor you can see these 3 yellow patches which we can already connect to with our with our game mechanic patch. So the first thing we have to connect is the first output. You can already see it is called 3D position object with the 3D position of our food. The next thing is the 3D scale. We will connect this with the 3D scale, and then also the third is the visibility object. We will connect this with our visible patch. So now you can already see that the burger is falling down, and when I open the mouth, I can already catch the burger. This is pretty nice, but at the moment there is just one burger falling down the whole time. But of course we want more burgers. I will do 3 burgers, but you can do of course more. Just repeat the steps I will do now and then you have more. So the next step is that we drag and drop again the patch asset into our patch editor and just repeat the steps I have done before. So now just connect the 3D position of the face tracker to the face 3D position input, and also the open state of the mouth open with the mouth open input of the game mechanic. So next step of course is that we go to our scene, then go to the food null object to the food 1 plane, and now here just right click and then click on duplicate, and it will automatically named food 2, and it will also automatically have the food texture as you can see here in the middle. Then again, that this thing is moving, select the food 2 plane, go to the right hand side, and then just extract the visibility, the position and the scale to the patch editor. So now again wire up the patches correctly. So the 3D position goes to the 3D position, the scale to the scale, and here the visibility to the visibility. Just make sure they are arranged in the right way. This makes it simpler to overlook everything here in the patch editor. And then again we need a third object. Also again drag and drop it and then just wire it up correctly. Position to the position and the mouth open to the mouth open. Again, go to the scene, right click on food 2 and then just duplicate it, and it will automatically create a food 3 with the burger material attached. Again, select it, go to the right hand side and extract the visibility, position and scale. So now just wire it up correctly, the scale to the scale, the position to the position and the visibility to the visibility. Now there are 3 burgers falling down, and we can catch all of them. But now we have a problem, because when we are restarting our filter on the left hand side, our burgers are starting at the same time, and they are also starting without any interaction of the user. So I will change this. I want to, when I tap on the screen, the game starts. So for this I will need of course so I will undock this that we see this better. Of course we will need a screen tab patch. So for this we go to our patch editor, click on add patch, and here search for screen tab, and then just add this patch to our patch editor. So here it is, and now we can wire it up correctly. So now the gesture state output goes into a new patch. So just drag and drop it, and then when you release the click, you can choose a patch, and here I will search for a switch patch. So at default, the gesture state is connected to the flip input, but we want to connect the gesture state to the turn on input. So now we can just connect this output of the switch to the start input of the orange patches. So just connect them to R. And now you will see the burgers are stopping. Now restart the filter, then select here simulate touch at the simulator, and then click on it. Now we can start the filter with a click, but the burgers are falling down at the same time. So now we are changing this. For this we will delete the 2 start connections of the second and the third game mechanic patch, And now we will program a delay here. So we can see that the speed of the burgers is set to 1.5 as a default. So now we want to start the burgers with the right delay. So for this we create a new patch. We create a delay patch. So here is the delay patch, and I will set the duration of this delay patch to 0.5. Now I will connect the output of the switch patch to the input of the delay patch, and the output of the delay patch goes into the second game mechanic patch. So now when you restart the filter, they are starting not at the same time. So, and also we will do this for the third burger. For this, again, create a delay patch, and here the delay is not 0.1, it is 1 for 1 second. So now again, just connect the on-off patch to the delay input, and then the output of the delay goes into the start of the game mechanic. So now the patch editor gets a little bit messy, but no problem. And I will explain later on all the different inputs of the game mechanic patch, so you can play around with the settings and customize your game a little bit more. So now when we restart the filter and tap on the screen, the burgers are not starting at the same time. They are coming every 0.5 seconds. And now we also can test it. But now at the moment, it's not really a game because we just can catch the burgers, but there is no score count or any timer which will go down and then stops the game. So let's change this. For this, we need a new patch. So go to the add patch, and here we search for a pulse merge patch. So just insert it, and here you have this pulse merge patch, but we need 2 of them. So just duplicate this patch, so you have 2 of them. So now just connect the output of one of them to the pulse 1 input of the second, and then we will go back to our game mechanic patches, and now you will find this catched output on every game mechanic patch. And now just connect the catched output of the game mechanic patch to the pulse 1 input, to the pulse 2 input, and also to this pulse 2 input. So now this is connected, and now all the catched pulses are merged. So every time I catch a burger, this will send a signal. So now the next patch we have to insert is a counter patch, and now the output of the pulse merge patch goes to the increase input of the counter patch. Also make sure that the maximum count of the counter patch is set to 999. So now we have successfully set up the counter, and you can already test it with a value patch. So for this, add a new patch, add a value patch, and then just connect the output of the counter patch to the input of the value. And now you can see there's already 4, and when I catch a burger, it counts up. So really nice, but we also want to display this value here on the screen. So for this, we have to create a new object in our scene. So go to your scene panel, click on the plus, and here search for the 2D text. So now after you have created this, there will be a text on your preview here. It says text, and you will also find in your scene this 2D text element nested into the canvas element, which Spark AR has automatically created for us. So now select the 2D text element and go to the right hand side. So the first is that we set the width to fit width, so it is centered, but of course you can choose the position of this of this text wherever you want to display your score count. So now I will just drag and drop this down here in the 3D space, and then also will change the color of the text. So go to the right hand side of the properties and set the color to whatever color you want. I will set it to white. So the next thing is that I change the font size from 40 to 100, so that the counter, the score count is visible. So next step is really important. Just select the 2D text element, go to the right hand side down to typography, and here you will find this text box, and here next to the text is a little arrow like we have seen before at the food plane. So just click on it and then a 2D text will appear here in the text editor. So now it would be simple to just connect the output of the value with this 2D, but this 2D text, but this will not work because this is an integer value and this is a text value, a string. So we need to convert our integer to a string value. So we need another patch. So for this, just go to the add patch and here search for the toString patch and just insert it into the patch editor. Now we can connect the output of the value patch to the input of this value, and then just the output of the toString patch goes into the 2D text input. And now we can see that this text has changed to 0. Now, when we start the game by clicking on the screen, we can see the score here on the screen. But at the moment, there is no end of the game. The burgers keep falling down until the maximum count of the counter is reached. Then the counter will set to 0, but the burgers will falling down. So I will limit this game to 10 seconds. So after 10 seconds are over, this game ends. So let's just program this. So just let the burgers fall and go back to your screen tab patch here in the patch editor. Here you have this switch patch, and here at this switch patch we will move on. So now add a new patch and search for animation patch. So now you have this animation patch and just connect the on-off output of the switch to the play input of the animation patch. This animation patch here has a duration value, and I will set this duration value to 10. This will be the length of the game. So now the duration of the game will be 10 seconds. Keep in mind that one story element is 15 seconds, so it makes sense to be underneath 15 seconds when you just want the game for one story element. So now the next thing is that we create our counter we want to also see here on the screen. So for this, we have to create a new 2D text element, but first I will rename my first text element to score. So now we can create a second one. So just select search for 2D text, and now I will call this timer. Now the text is again here on the left upper corner. Again, I will stretch it to the whole width. So just select the timer text, go to the right hand side and set the width to fill width. So now the text is again here. And now, as before, go down to your typography and then just extract the text property to your patch editor with the little arrow next to text. So now we will find the timer text here in the patch editor. And of course, we have to do something here in between the animation and the timer text. So the next step is that we add a new patch. And here we search for a toRange patch. This toRange patch will map a value from 0 to 1 to a specific range of numbers. So because the progress output just goes from 0 to 1, we need to map this. So just connect the progress output of the animation to the first input of the toRange patch. So now make sure the min of this patch is set to 10 and the max is set to 0. This sounds a bit confusing, but it will work, trust me. So now we also need another patch. We need a round patch. Connect this, and we will also need another patch, a toString patch, which we also have used before. So add this patch also to the patch editor, and now just connect them in the right way. And now the text here will change to 0. Now just restart your filter. Now the timer says 10, and again tap on the screen. Now the timer is counting down, but it will not stop the game, as you may have already guessed. So let's change this, and this will also be the last step we have to do to create this simple game. Now we need a few patches. We need another switch patch, which we will connect with the completed output of the animation. So the completed output goes into the turn on of this switch. And then we also need a if patch. So if then else, just insert it, and we have this patch here. Here we have to change the properties of the if then else patch. So here you see number and the little arrow, click on it, and here select purs. So now just connect the switch output of this to the on-off output to the condition input of the if then else patch. So now we have to relocate our if then else patch because we need it down here. So yeah, just make sure you have the overlook of your filter, and here we need to break up this connection in front of the counter. So we have to delete this connection because we just want the purs to go through when the counter is counting. So at the moment this is disabled. When it is to 0, then it should not count, and when it is and else it should count. So the output purs goes to the else input, and the output of the if then else patch goes to the increase input of the counter. And now when we restart the game, we can collect burgers, but when the counter goes to 0, we can collect the burgers, but this will not count up. And now the last thing we have to do is to set the burgers to invisible, so we don't see them anymore when the time runs out. So for this we go to our switch patch, which is connected to the animation patch, and here we have to do something. We need another patch from our scene. So for this we go to our scene, click on the null object, on the food null object where all the planes are nested in, and then go to the right hand side, selected this null object, and here just extract the visibility property to the patch editor. Now we need one last patch. This will be a not patch. Just insert it, and then just connect this output of the switch with the not and also with the visibility. So now the burgers are gone, and now when we restart the game and tap on the screen, the burgers are counting when we catch them, and when the time runs out, the burgers are gone and the counter is not counting anymore. So we have successfully created a simple eating game here in the Spark AR Studio, and now you have a lot to play around. You can play around with the timer count. You can set it to 20 or even more. You can play around here with the game mechanic patch. You can change the speed of the objects which are falling down. To 1 they will be faster, and when you set it to 2 they will not as fast as here shown. So you can also change the object scale. So when you change this, I will set 1 to 0.5. You will see that one burger will be much smaller than the other two. So this is the object scale. The object amount is not relevant for this filter. This is when you have more than just one burger you want to show. And the spawn X range is where the burgers are spawning on the screen. So when you increase this value, they will also spawn on the sides of the screen. So just play around. The tolerance is the tolerance of the mouth, so it will also detect it as a catch when the burger is, for example, here or here. So when you lower the tolerance, you will shrink this. So when you shrink this value, you will make the game harder or easier. So yeah, this is all the magic, because a simple eating game. Of course, you can add a lot of more actions here or features. So just play around, get used to the patches, and you can create a nice game. You can also overlay this with a frame, so you can brand it a little bit more. And one thing I want to add here is a game over text at the end, so the user know that the game is over. So for this, again, we need a 2D text element in our scene. Go to the scene, add a 2D text element. I will call this game over. Now go to the right hand side, set the width to fill with, and here, as for the typography, we don't need to extract this to our patch editor. I will just type in game over here in the text, set the size to 60, and I will do a red color for this. And also, yeah, just drag it around on the screen where you want it. I want it here right in the middle of the screen. So now it will stay here for the whole game, but I want to change this. For this, go to the switch patch where also the visibility of the food is, and then go to your game over text and extract the visibility to your patch editor. Now we want to show it when the time is up, so we just need to connect the switch output to the visibility of the game over patch. So just restart the game, and yeah, after the 10 seconds there should be the game over text in the middle of the screen. So here it is. So yeah, I think this is a pretty simple game to do and makes a lot of fun on Instagram. So this was all the magic about creating a simple eating game here in the Spark AR Studio. If I could help you with this tutorial, give this video a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, it would be nice when you subscribe to it. I will do a lot of Spark AR Studio tutorials in the next time, so yeah, just make sure you don't miss any of it. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!